Hello, welcome to the home of the Ghost Owl. We're now on the special category of units for the High Elf realms in Warhammer the Old World. So let's have a look and see what this fairly congested category has to offer. First up, the White Lions of Grace. Good weapon skill, ballistic skill, strength, initiative, and leadership. They are regular infantry and they're 25 by 25mm bases. They come with hand weapons. They come with Great Cracian Blades, which is strength +2, AP -3, requires 2 hand and strikes last. Heavy armor 5+. May take a full command group, may replace Valor of Ages with Veteran, and the Guardian may take 25 points of magic items. May take a magic standard up to 50 points. So they get moved through cover, situational, depends how much terrain you have on the board in the first place. Elven reflexes, nice. Valor of Ages. Cracian warriors, so they can only be joined by the army general or a character that has the Cracian hunter elven honor. King's Guard, so if the army general joins the unit, every model may issue and accept challenges in the same manner as a character. Lion Cloak, so they do get to improve their armor value by 1 against non-magical shooting. So they got heavy armor, they got no shield, so on a 5+, they get 4+ against shooting. Open order, and they're stubborn, so the first break test will automatically for Bigo instead of, or fall back in good order instead of breaking. So all of the High Elf Elite Infantry in the special category come in at a very similar points per model cost, literally within a point or two of each other. So it comes down to your army build and what you want to do with each unit. White Lions automatically give me a negative view, right? They're toughness 3 models with 1 wound. They got a 5+ save and they strike last. So, yeah, if they charge, okay, but they're still striking last. So they're going to be attacked, and that means that they're going to take casualties in most cases, which means that what they're actually attacking with is going to be significantly weakened. They've only got 1 attack, so every person they lose, they're going to lose. They're not going to get any attack back with that person. So this means the unit needs support. And ideally, it's engaging an enemy unit that's already in combat. That said, stubborn is nice, and you are looking at strength 6 attacks at AP -3. So you've got a solid roll there against monstrous and or heavily armored enemies, right? That AP -3 going through Chaos Warrior armor, going up against trolls or other sort of monstrous creatures, has value. So there's clearly a role there for them. But, and while most units, need some sort of support to mitigate the weakness, these guys really need it because they need to make sure that they are not taking much damage before they attack. Magic items I would consider, funnily enough, would be the Lion Banner. Who would have thought? No, the main reason that automatically passed Fear and Terror tests. This is a unit that you want to take against monstrous creatures, monstrous infantry. Typically, those type of enemies are going to have fear or terror, and therefore automatically passing that is going to be of value. So I think the Lion Banner would be a sensible choice for this unit. Okay, next up, Sword Masters of Hoeth. Regular infantry. They've got good weapon skill, initiative, leadership, 25 by 25mm bases, and a unit size of 5+. Right, they've got hand weapons, and they've got the Sword of Hoeth, which is strength +2, AP -2, magical attacks, and requires 2 hands. And they've got heavy armor, 5+. May take a full command. They may become drilled. Drilled can be a useful ability. And they may purchase a magic standard up to 50 points. And a Blade Lord can take magic items up to 50 points. So, Elven reflexes, yeah, Valor of Ages, Ithamar armor, all that good stuff. What's specific to Swordmasters? Cleaving Blow. 6s to wound on regular infantry and cavalry, heavy infantry and cavalry, and war beasts, means they cannot take a saving throw or regeneration. That's really nice. So you take these guys up against, up against a heavy cavalry unit, Blood Knights, or you take them up against Chaos Knights or Chaos Warriors or Chosen. All that armor It's not going to count for anything when they're rolling 6s. That's really good, right? On top of the fact it's a +2 strength and an AP -2 weapon. They also get deflect shots, ward save against 6+ ward save against non-magical shooting. Yeah, it's of minor value. If you get to save a model, then that's got use. That's got use, right? And you've only got a 5+ save, so often you'll be back down to your ward save on a lot of shooting. Magic resistance of 1, that's always good. Anything you can do to reduce the chance of getting targeted by magic. And then they may only be joined by high elf mages or characters with the Elven Honor Warden of Safri or Lawmaster. I like Swordmasters of Earth. Not only are they among the easier models to find, because again, they were part of the Island of Blood box set, they have the highest weapon skill and initiative in the Elven roster, like the highest initiative, and with the obvious exception of characters and some monsters, right? So their weapon skill is great, so they're going to hit, and generally they're going to be attacking first. Combine this, you've got Strength 5, AP -2 attacks, with good movement because they got a movement of 5. This is a scary opponent, right? So this is a scary opponent. And in most cases, they're going to be striking first, given the Elven reflexes also apply, so they've got that +1 initiative. So not only got the highest initiative for a unit in the roster, they've also got +1 to that in the first round of combat. Magic resistance, always good. Deflect shots, yeah, okay. Main downside is the number of attacks. They only get 1 attack, right? So you need a good size unit, and they're not going to be cheap. But there's no doubt that I prefer these to White Lions. They do have a slightly different role, but Strength 5 compared to the Strength 6. So you've got Strength 6, AP -3, or Strength 5, AP -2. They're pretty close. You've got to really need that extra bit of strength to get the value. And the AP, well, I've got Cleaving Blow, and there's going to be a lot of cases they don't even get a save. So there's no doubt for me, personally, that Swordmasters are a better choice. And they're the same points as the White Lions. Magic items to consider, Razor Standard would be an interesting one. Give them Armor Bane too. That could be real interesting for them. Because then, actually, having thought about that, Armor Bane 2 is not going to be that valuable. I would retract that. So I've put that on, but now as I'm doing the video, I'm changing my mind. Because 6s to get your Armor Bane 2 already take away the... you already don't get to roll for your armor save. So I wouldn't take the Razor Standard. I wouldn't take it. Maybe take Banner of Arcane Protection. Give them some more magic resistance. Would be an interesting one. Or the War Banner. That would be another one. Again, if you're looking to take a banner, War Banner, to give them the plus D3 combat result. There you go. Picked up an error, and we fixed it. Okay, next, Phoenix Guard. Good weapon skill, initiative, and leadership. Heavy infantry, 25 by 25 mil base size. Right, equipment, hand weapons, ceremonial halberds, strength +1, AP -1, and armor bane 1. Fighting extra rank, magical attacks, requires 2 hands, cannot make supporting attacks in a turn in which it charged, but they do come with full plate armor, so they've got a native 4+ armor save, but they cannot take any shields. They can take a full command group, they can become drilled, which is that is a good ability, and they can purchase a magic standard up to 100 points, and the Keeper of Flame can take up to 25 points. Right. Special rules. Blessings of Azurian. 5+ ward save against flaming attacks. As I've said before, situational rule. They do cause fear, which is nice. Martial prowess. Witness to Destiny. That's their main one. So they're standard as veteran. So they're standard veterans rather than Valor of Ages. But Witness to Destiny is a 6+ ward save against non-magical attacks. They got a 4+ armor save, 6+ ward save. Not the most durable unit out there, but every little helps. And for an Elven unit, this is durable, right? This is durable. Phoenix Guard, look, they're good companion unit to Swordmasters of Hoeth. They provide just that bit more durability, but they are 2 points per model more. But you get the 4+ armor save, 6+ ward save, but they're still toughness 3, 1-win models. So compared to units and other armies, the durability is still not right, the top. Drilled is good. And the unit could really do with Stubborn, I think. I would definitely recommend augmenting this unit with a Battle Standard Bearer or a character would definitely be worth considering. Strength 4, AP -1 with Armor Bane 1, not the best for elite infantry, but the supporting attacks mean there'll be plenty of the attacks, including to the flank and rear. So, against elite enemy infantry and cavalry, monstrous units, Phoenix Guard are going to need damage support. So if you're putting Phoenix Guard up against lower quality infantry, it's going to be fine. Lots of attacks are going to chop them down pretty quick. But if you're going up against something tougher, they're going to need help. Magic items, Razor Standard. There you go. This is where it can really help because you've got that AP -1. You're already on Armor Bane 1. Add another that becomes Armor Bane 3. So now 6s to wound are going to give you AP -4. That can really help dealing, and because you're Strength 4, you can now help deal with those tough armored units, dwarves, for example, with Chaos Warriors, for example. So that can really help out in dealing with the tough armor. If you're up against something that's got high toughness, you've still got that issue. The other thing you could take is Banner of Arcane Protection. If you're going to use this as your Anvil unit, you've got to keep them alive, boost the durability. Banner of Arcane Protection will do that with the magic resistance. So at least you know that you're going to be much safer from magic, and also provide a bit of that to units that are around you as well. Okay, next up, Shadow Warriors. Regular infantry, 25 by 25mm bases. They come with hand weapons, longbows, and light armor. Can take a champion. They can take the Shadow Walker. Can take 25 points of magic items. So they can become ambushers, which means they'll be held in reserve. They can be given chariot runners and or feigned flight, which is if he chooses to flee, automatically rallies at the end of its move. Okay. They are skirmishers. They get fire and flee, which is nice. Evasive, so they can fall back in good order before the enemy unit shoots at it, which is nice. Move through cover, situational. Scouts, they can deploy on the battlefield anywhere more than 12 inches from the enemy, but they can't declare a charge in the first turn if you do so. They are veterans by standard, which means they re-roll leadership tests. And warriors of Nagarath, so may only be joined by a character with the Shadow Stalker Elven Honor. Right. There's no doubt that Shadow Warriors are good points value. They're only 3 points per model more than an Elven Archer unit with light armor. Right? They gain +1 weapon skill, +1 ballistic skill, and +1 initiative, as well as the evasive, the fire and flee, the Ithilmar weapons, the move through cover, scouts, skirmishers, and veteran. That's amazing. I would definitely look to upgrade the unit to gain feigned flight, because I think that's really good. Chariot runners, incredibly situational. I can't see many cases for that, and I'm not a big fan of chariots overall. And to be honest, I don't like the risk of ambushers being delayed. So you pay for ambushers, you hold them in reserve to bring them on some cool time, and then you don't get the right roll to bring them on when you need them. So I wouldn't bother with ambushers personally. With good mobility, long-range missile weapons, bearing in mind that they have they've got the good mobility with the scouts and everything, and where they can deploy. They can be a real pain for enemy archers, war machines, light cavalry. They are using longbows. If they were using a shorter range bow, it might be slightly different, but with that good range, it's very nice. They are vulnerable to magic, and especially heavy cavalry. This can be hugely mitigated with fire and flee, combined with feigned flight. So you can be shooting, you can get out the way, you can avoid enemy missile stuff, which is normally the biggest problem for skirmishing units because they can be evasive. So these guys have got lots of tricks up their sleeve, and I think they're really quite interesting. The good weapon skill and initiative, they can fight in combat in a pinch against low-quality infantry as well as the enemy missile infantry units, with decent results. The biggest downside is being in the special category. You've got a lot of other good choices there. You've got Phoenix Guard, you've got Swordmasters, Dragon Printers, all of which are fairly expensive units. But Shadow Warriors are definitely worthy of consideration. Definitely worthy of consideration as a tricksy unit that can do a lot of shenanigans and stay out of trouble while providing missile support and then combat support when needed. Tyrannok Chariot. So good strength, wounds, and leadership. It is a light chariot, and they are able to come in a unit, which is a unit size of 1 to 4. Base size is 50 by 100. Hand weapons, cavalry spears, longbows, hooves counts as hand weapons, and a 5+ armor save with no options. So they do get a 5+ armor save. It's a light chariot after all, which is not the best. Swift stride, yes. Elven reflexes, yes. Valor of Ages. Impact hits D6 and quick shot, so they can move and shoot with no penalty, and they can stand and shoot regardless of charge range. I definitely prefer chariots when they can be taken in units, despite not being the biggest chariot fan ever. While not quite Tomb Kings, a unit of 4 Tyrannok chariots is nice, but is crazy expensive at 300 points. Durability is not the best, with only a 5+ armor save and toughness 4. But with 4 wounds and 4 chariots, that's equivalent to 16 wounds, right? If you had 4 chariots with that. So they'll certainly be able to survive some shooting, enemy shooting. They've got good initiative though with the elven reflexes, and in the second round of combat, so they'll be often be able to strike first, which is nice. Ideally, however, you need to be breaking the enemy unit on the charge. You need to get them charging in. You need to get those impact hits. And, the enemy, there shouldn't be much of the enemy left after that. So you've got to pick your targets and you've got to make sure you charge. Longbows, limited value due to the low number of shots. Overall, I think there are better units to pick in the special category personally. If you're not going for that fully mounted force, there is options where with the core units and the special choices, you could go like fully mounted with everybody on a mount of some description. But that's a unique type of army list in reality. Next up, though, is the Dragon Princes of Caledor. Weapon skill, good initiative, good attacks and leadership. They're heavy cavalry, and we like heavy cavalry. Base size 30 by 60. Right. They've got hand weapons, lances. They've got full plate armor and shields this time, and barding. That does give them a 2+ save, and you can see how already they're more durable than the Silverhelms. May take a full command. They've got a Drake Master, can take 50 points of magic items, and they can take a magic banner as well. Lots of rules here. So they've got first charge. They've got counter charge. I still don't know why Silverhelms don't have it, but Dragon Princes do, and that's key. Swift stride. They've got dragon armor, so they get a 6+ ward save as well. So you've now got a 2+ armor save, 6+ ward save. They are drilled by standard, so they can perform a free redress the ranks immediately before moving and can march even while within 8 inches of an enemy without taking a leadership test, which for your mobile unit is good. Elven reflexes to get that +1 initiative in the first round of combat. Valor of Ages. Ithilmar barding, Ithilmar weapons, and Sons of Caledor, which means that if you want them to be joined by your army general, where he can do, or if it's another character, they've got to have the Blood of Caledor Elven Honor. So you can actually have your army general join without the Elven Honor. Right, so they do have a downside, Impetuous, and I'm not a fan of the rule. It's the one thing where you go, oh my god, this is such a cool heavy cavalry unit, but, and there's always a but, if you can charge, if you can declare a charge, you must roll the d6. If you roll it, it's a 50-50. If you roll a 1 to 3, they have to charge. If you roll a 4+, you get to move as normal. But if you have to charge, they can be charging something you don't want them to. And then they're out of position, they get flanked, and then your nice heavy cavalry unit is destroyed. So you've got to be careful with how you move them, how far they are away from the enemy, if you can put blockers in to stop them charging when you don't want to, that sort of thing. So normally I'm not a fan of units, especially cavalry, that have this rule. Dragon Princes, however, are still worth taking. The same rules as other heavy cavalry with great armor saves, counter charge, first charge, but this is combined with high initiative, good weapon skill, drilled, and a 6+ ward save. This means this unit, in most cases, can charge in, even if you don't want them to, and survive, if they don't break the unit on the charge. The main downside is the lack of strength. of course, you get that on the charge, but that's only the first round of combat. That the unit will greatly benefit from being buffed and have a character join the unit. So if you get a prince in there and he's tooled up for melee, he can really help break that unit when they do have to charge in. Magic items I would consider for these guys, the Rampaging Banner. If you do get caught in a position where you're charging and you don't want to, or you're having to make a long charge to make it happen, being able to re-roll the charge roll, incredibly important. Incredibly important. So I think the Rampaging Banner is an absolute key banner for a unit. Often you take banners on units because you want to buff them in some way. For me, this banner really helps make them work. And it definitely should be looking to have the points available to get that for them. Ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to the end of the special category for the High Elf Realms. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. Let me know why in the comments down below. And as always, if you want to see more content, hit that subscribe button. It's just down below the video. It's free to do. It takes you a few seconds. But it is such a massive deal for me, so thank you for that in advance. You've been watching The Ghost Hour. Tune back in as we move to the final category in the High Elf roster, the rare units.